So just sort of to review, you probably guessed all you had to do, store them in the different boxes, is just change this. Let's think of a way where we can make this a little bit more streamlined using loops. Say we had 100 employees. It'd get pretty boring and arduous if we had to keep copying and pasting this 100 times. So plus our code would get a little ugly. So let's take a look at the for loop. For loop looks generally like an if statement. If you're not familiar with if statements, we'll eventually get to those too. It's essentially the open parentheses, open curly brace, close curly brace. Now the for loop consists of three things: an index, some sort of timer, and then something to increment. So I'm going to type in here integer index equals 0. So that's where our starting point is. As long as our index is less than the length of our hours array, copy that. And the way that we get the length of our arrays is we simply just write the name of our array dot length, which is up here. And as long as it's less than that, we're just going to increment index. Plus plus means index 1, 1. So it's going to start off at 0, and then it runs this 1. Let's copy this, paste it in here. Now there's a problem here. All we're going to do as this loops through index, right, because it keeps incrementing, is we're going to keep writing over 0. So how do we increment the 0 that's in here? Well, a neat trick is we can just copy the word index here and paste it in here. And what that does is we check, is 0 less than the length of our array, which is 3. Then what we're going to do is store whatever the keyboard input is. And then we'll go to the next one, which is 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to also see out the word index so you can see that running. Okay, so see out word index. And this is just going to print it on its own line. So we're going to see this before it. So let's go ahead and run this. I kind of like the way, no, we'll leave it like this. All right, let's go ahead and drag this up. Go ahead and press play. You can see it says enter the hours worked by blank employees, 3 employees. Now what it does is system.println employee 1. Now, after it does that, it jumps inside of here. We really should change this. Let's copy this line here. This actually might be a better idea. And I paste this inside of here. And what you're going to notice is we're going to remove employee 1 here. And we're going to hit plus index. Now, watch what happens when we do this. So let's get rid of this. So now you can actually see it in sort of a statement. When I press play, we get system.outprint employee 0 because that's our starting point. But we don't have an employee 0. We have an employee 1, 2, and 3, right? So how do we resolve this? Well, we can, just like in algebra, you learn how to wrap in parentheses the things you want to go first. We're going to wrap that in parentheses and say plus 1. So we're going to 0 plus 1, and then we're going to do 1 plus 1. So let's go ahead and try this again. You can see now we're at employee 1. So he worked 25 hours. I don't need this line. It's going to keep going over and over again. So let me gut that. 5, 30, and 40. So now we've stored in 1, 2, and 3, or 0, 1, and 2, according to our index of our array, the number of hours that our employees work. Now, if we want to output this, we can actually copy this entire for loop and do it again, where we paste this. You can say what we want to do here is we can say system.output employee this one worked. I'm going to output this so we can see it worked, and copy this. Paste that out. Number of, space that out, and paste this. You don't need this because up top you can see we have this for loop that's going to prompt us, and then we're going to store that inside of 0, 1, 2, and then we're going to print out the number that this employee at this index worked this number of hours. All right, so let's see how that runs. We have 20, 30, and 40, and you can see employee 1 work number, and you could also say, oh well, why is it doing that? We need to input a space in front here, but that doesn't matter. Number of hours. Okay, so this is looping through arrays.